What's up? Pick Central on a Monday, August 21st. Potentially the biggest day in show history. We'll get to that in a little bit. But we are brought to you by our friends at Game Time, the exclusive ticketing partner for Barstool Sports, created by fans for fans. Game Time is the ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute ticket deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows, and they guarantee the lowest prices. Over the summer, I went to see Stevie Nicks and Billy Joel. Ev, you've been hooked up with UFC stuff in the past?
This Saturday, I was at UFC 292 in Boston. They're going to see Game Time. Thank you, Game Time.
Marty, where'd you go?
Great time.
I've been to Drake with it. I've been to so many places with it.
A bunch of baseball games all over Baltimore, Philly, Yankees games, Mets games.
Baseball games you were swindling? Nice. But Game Time's there for everybody. From new, young, old, everybody can go, obviously. You got Morgan Wallen, Luke Combs concerts in the summer. Squeeze the rest out of summer. You obviously got college football coming up. Game Time's the best way to go. It's possible with the Game Time app. The biggest last-minute price drops can be found on the seats you thought you could never buy. The purchase process takes just 2 taps and 10 seconds. And once you buy your tickets, they're delivered directly to your phone. No printer needed. The app also allows you to easily share tickets with a friend via text, so you can get into the game seamlessly. Skip the hassle and enjoy the moment. Download the Game Time app or go to the website, enter your email, and redeem code PICKS. That's PICKS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. $20 off, you might go to the Met Yankee game for like $3. The way that's
maybe one.
Total.
I'm just letting you, if I'm on my phone, I am, for the first 10 minutes, I am dealing with a ricochet shot from the boss about me taking BP at the Savannah Bananas, so I am just he's texting me doing some damage control. I'm doing damage control.
So just breaking their Savannah Bananas out.
They are a little much.
Out.
I think it's just
a little much.
Yeah, of course they are. I think that's what they're going for. But
I don't know how they got the ESPN deal, though.
Because people like them.
They're like baseball Globetrotters.
I guess, yeah.
Well, listen, I think he thought like I fucking did the whole thing, because he's like, you didn't wear the uniform. I was like, no, I didn't use the uniform. I took BP and left. It's basically what we did. But we'll see. He hypothetically said that he may be writing a blog about me and the Savannah Bananas.
Okay.
But listen, when you wake up, again, Dave, I'm just happy to have a jersey. I've said this before. Low rent is what people are looking for these days, no? There's not much low rent around in New York anymore, so there could be some value getting a little low rent out of me.
Why don't you, Ev, break down the UFC card?
I'd love to talk to you about it.
Unbelievable.
Saturday night.
I mean, it was the main event stole the show. I mean, basically, it was. I think we're gonna look back on this, and this kind of like almost like a watershed moment in UFC where we saw, I think, the budding of the next face of the UFC have his like moment where he proves he's the guy, knocks out the 3-time defending champ in the second round, big time counter shot, follows up ground and pound, finished him. It was just, I've never heard a pop like that in a stadium anywhere. Where, especially when he walked in, everyone there is for O'Malley. Obviously, he's not from Boston, but just having the Irish name. He's just a superstar in his own right. He was unbelievable. Even just the whole week leading up to it, but then just being there, the pop when they show him on the Jumbotron, the pop when he walks in, he comes out as superstar by Lupe Fiasco. Like, this is his big moment to be, I'm the guy. He was a big underdog. A lot of people thought he was going to, I would say most people thought he was going to lose. A lot of people didn't give him much chance. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. I always can tell it's funny because me and Robbie talk about where, there's a big card for him, like Trent talks to him, and for me it's Marty. And I knew Marty's a big sugar guy because there's been kind of this talk where people that don't like him, he wears the colorful hair, he's got face tattoos, he's kind of like the new generation, and a lot of people don't like him. He only has like young Fortnite fans, this and that, but I think he's got real fans too. Everyone likes him, I think, for the most part. But Marty, go ahead.
I enjoyed the entire card. I never watch a full UFC card, and the Weidman one was sad.
Yeah, it was
to me
tough
because his leg was just getting broken again, and Dana White said that he should just retire and give it up.
Yeah, he came
nicely though. He was
came off like
he tore his ACL or MCL.
Two years ago. He's in like 10 seconds into a fight, he threw a leg kick and snapped his leg literally again in half, basically.
Yeah, so that
was
2
years to get back. He's a former champion, Long Island guy, like Long Island legend, UFC legend.
Ian Gary. He's the next one up. He's gonna
bubbling star for sure.
He's gonna he did his open warm ups in a bar in Boston. Like he just was in a bar going like doing a open like workout. And then the girl fight, I don't
fantastic.
know how that girl didn't die in it. She
Lemos,
was beating the
yeah.
shit out of him. And
Great
then,
fight.
But then I think this is huge for UFC. Huge because Aljamain's boring as fuck, kind of, and Sugar Sean is like he hangs out with the Nelk boys, like he hangs out with he knows what to do.
He's Joe Burrow's favorite
Yeah,
fighter.
Elevate it, yeah, man.
He's like everyone's favorite fighter, kind
And
of.
I think that the smartest thing they did that you guys were all tweeting about is that they posted all the highlights right after instead of like making people buy the pay-per-view after it, because like there are millions and millions of views of Sean O'Malley beating the shit out of Aljo, and like it was awesome.
That was the
enjoyed
thing.
the shit about it.
You know this growing up. If you guys can imagine this, you would have been really young. I'm a little bit older, but and he's way older, so he definitely. But the box, I remember being in Disney World during Tyson Holyfield when he bit his ear. Do you know how SportsCenter showed the highlights from that fight? Still images.
There's a picture.
Yeah.
Still images.
Like
they were
us.
so like that's the thing that they were so protected in. I wonder if for years of that, like if you didn't see the fight, you didn't see it. You know,
Yeah.
like no YouTube. So like they kind of got in their own way. And now it's like, yeah, if you didn't like whatever they're gonna make on but just release the highlights.
Only
Well,
The
so
other thing is half the
so-
people in there have phones anyway. Like
So what they do is what they've done like prior to this is usually they'll for pay-per-views like when it's on ESPN they'll just post the clip because
Right.
obviously it was public to everybody if you have cable. But what they usually do for something like this would be they basically start the video the moment the fight ended.
Got
So
it.
you don't like see the blow. You see basically the ref wave it off and him be like, "Oh my god, like they won, blah blah blah." But this just shows like how big they see this moment for the UFC that they posted everywhere,
Right.
millions of views immediately, like posting the full sequence. Like it happened 50. The fight ended 51 seconds in the round. So they basically just posted the entire second round of what it was, and it was just unbelievable. I mean, the counter shot was crazy. Just the way he just set it up perfect. The videos of him before like practicing the exact shot and the ability to like step back and throw that counter right's very rare. It was crazy how like McGregor-esque it was in the Aldo fight. His was crazy because it was like 10 seconds in the fight, 13 seconds in, but the guy just comes lunging forward, step back, just cracks him, and was just landing vicious ground, was bouncing his head off the canvas.
There's one
It's just
complaint. I have.
unbelievable.
One complaint. So a lot of the fights before it didn't. They ended in like
Bunch of decisions in a row.
I was exhausted watching the last fight. It was about 1:15.
Dude,
Yeah, it's every-
beating there was crazy.
That's
It was
with
so
everything.
long.
What was the crowd like at 1:15 a.m.? Were they exhausted? Like, what was that?
So
oh, it's Vegas. Oh no, sorry, it was Boston.
I will say this.
How does that,
the
how
bars
does that
are
happen?
closed.
How does that happen? I
Crazy,
just
bro.
assumed it was Vegas.
No.
How does that? That's my bad. How did that happen?
What?
1:15 in Boston?
Insane.
So because literally on the main card, all 4 fights prior to the main event went the distance.
Jesus.
Why
That
start
never-
at
that
10?
never happened.
Why not
So,
start
like,
at
That never happened.
The bars are literally closed in Boston.
in the
at 1
title fight,
One?
One in Boston.
I thought it's 2.
No, I think it's one. It's one in New Hampshire. Pretty sure it's one in Boston.
the co-main event also was a title fight, went full 5 rounds. And if you asked me after the first round, I mean, Marty can see you watched it.
Sorry, I got chills.
If you had-
3 minutes. It's coming. It's happening. He's coming in 3 minutes. I got chills. I'm sorry. I literally have chills. 3 minutes.
too.
It's confirmed. I don't give a fuck. I'm saying it. Mike Francesa's coming on in 3 minutes, and I'm.
Yeah, it's,
I grew up listening to this fucking guy. I cannot wait. It's finally. We were all scared to announce it because we're like, us 4 idiots will be the ones that get stood up on that day. But I just got the text. 3 minutes.
The greatest to ever do it.
First
Full
ever
stop,
guest.
right?
First ever guest on Barstool Breakfast. A little fun fact.
Really?
Yep.
Was it in
Call
person?
in though, right?
Yeah, it was a call-in, I
Yeah,
believe.
call in.
In
He
person.
knew JSB.
You know what we have to all be thankful for? Meek Phil's not in the back for this.
Yeah, he's coming.
Coming. No,
coming,
he's
guys.
yeah.
Halfway through.
Don't even let him in the booth.
He
He's
will
late.
be here no matter what.
Don't even let him in.
But Ev, question on the social part. That's like the first fight I can remember where they did post it everywhere. Like the knockout, they posted it. Like I don't know if like they just view O'Malley as like an absolute superstar and they're like we have to get this out. But like they weren't even posting McGregor finishes like the night of. Like it was insane just to see that mass posted everywhere on like every platform, UFC, ESPN, everywhere.
No, it solidified that he is the next face of the UFC.
100%.
Borderline there, right? He's like on the cusp of it basically now. Even Dana made a point in the post presser was like, he's not going to be a superstar. He is a superstar.
Yeah, like
that solidified. He is a superstar. He is one of the few faces of the UFC on his way to maybe being the face.
Even John Jones' comeback, they didn't even post the finish.
No.
Like it's crazy. I couldn't believe that they were putting it everywhere.
That's what makes me wonder. Like, so if you knew the outcome of it, which in sports, I don't think there's no way to tape games anymore, no matter what. Like, you can't not know a result. I've tried a bunch of different times in the last 4 or 5 years by happenstance. Like, we're going to dinner here.
Holy shit.
Like, all right.
Holy shit.
Tape the game.
I'm sorry.
And you can't do it. So do you think people go back and watch the
He's shaking hands and kissing babies walking in.
do you think people go back and watch the pay-per-view? Like, I don't think they would go back if they knew the result.
I think just seeing the fight, it's so exciting. I think kind of just seeing the fight people like to watch.
I cannot.
This is unbelievable.
This is unreal.
I just want to watch him walk around.
Oh, and Tank gets the first.
Oh, there it is.
It's on ball.
Of course,
right away.
Francesa's coming to pay his respects.
Yeah, of course.
Bro, his teeth are so white. I love it.
Hair looks good.
His hair looks
It looks
sharp.
great.
Yeah, it looks good.
It's slick back.
Sharp.
Good
Well,
as
we
ever.
actually might. Sorry, guys. We might never get him in because now Tank is talking to him.
Yeah, they'll probably do a soda review and see they banned me for burning the jersey. I wonder how much Mike knows about Frank.
He.
But I
bet he knows who.
I don't want to ask because it could spend 20 minutes. I don't want to waste my time.
His son Harrison.
Yeah.
He said that he knows who Frank is.
He knows who, but I don't. Mike's definitely not the guy who's like he probably gets his Yankee tweets off and then just gets off Twitter.
Right.
Like he's not looking at it much.
I don't think he's reading much replies.
No, and but yeah, no, I don't know what.
Frank's keeping him.
So we got. I'm so.
They're definitely talking hardcore Mets right now.
He's like fucking Darren Ruff.
I think Mike's trying to get away.
Yeah, of course he is.
This is unbelievable. I'm literally shaking.
I don't know what to do.
Up.
Oh, he left him with a number. He probably gave him.
we go.
Probably gave him a number. Probably gave him
Yeah,
a one-liner.
He's coming in. Oh my God, he's coming in. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Holy shit.
What's up?
Mike,
How are you?
how we doing?
What's going on?
Mike.
How are you?
Yeah, we're
Live,
on.
we're live.
I don't give a shit.
Live, it's an honor.
There is a camera, though.
Yeah, there's the camera. We're definitely rolling.
Great to meet you, Chris. Nice to meet you.
How are you? Rico.
Rico. You used to call the show, right? Yeah. What's your name? Evan? Okay, where are you from?
Goshen, New York.
Okay.
Marty.
Marty?
Nice to
I had a
meet
brother
you.
named Marty. Where are you
Oh,
from?
Ronkonkoma, Long
Oh,
Island.
my wife's from Lake Grove.
Really?
Yeah, she lives right on the border. She
Oh.
grew up there. She went to Sachem.
Me too.
Yeah.
I went to Sachem North.
Yeah, well, then it was
That was when it was
Sachem
one,
then.
yeah.
Yes.
All right.
She went, her brother was a big football star at Sachem.
Holy
She's
shit.
one of 11 kids, but she lived right on the Lake Grove and Ronkonkoma border.
Yeah. All right, we'll hang out then. Yeah.
You want the whole share out of respect?
No, you sit down.
I don't know.
Just in case. It's a hot
Is
summer
this the
day.
guest chair?
We got your gift as
There you
well.
go.
Each grab that Coke like there was no tomorrow.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. There
He
you go.
grabbed that Coke like there was no tomorrow.
We started drinking them, which I'm wearing.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me get my glasses on here. We just got off the train, which I'm not a big train rider.
I can't believe you rode the
What
train.
happened to
Howard.
Julio? What happened to Julio?
Julio, I didn't call him for this, but I don't like the train very much. But Harrison has been taking it all year, so I took it in today. So
Out of respect. This.
And he was telling me all about you guys, some of you guys, not everyone, but some of you guys. So he told me Rico used to call the show.
Yes.
Yep.
Frank the Tank.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, how was that?
I tried to rev him up a little bit.
It's not hard.
Rico, get him on the mic if you
It's
can.
definitely not hard. Yeah.
He's like Jerome used to be. Remember Jerome
Yes.
from the Bronx?
Yes.
Yeah. They tell me he's a lot like Jerome.
There's no one like Tank.
Where do you want me to sit?
Anywhere.
Those
You
seats
have the
wherever
host
you
chair
want.
if you want. Anywhere.
Which seat's
They're all good. They're all live.
this one? Here we
Yeah,
go.
the behind the glass tell me get you on the mic. We don't rush greatness. We don't rush greatness here.
All right.
This is an absolute thrill, man. This is incredible.
That's how me and your son
Taking
bonded.
care of my youngest son this summer.
We've been
I had-
trying. Yeah, we've been
I had
trying.
no idea this was your son, and we bonded because, like, look at this freak right here.
We were making fun of him.
That's how I met him. I was like, this guy looks like a freak. He's so skinny, and he's so old, and we were like,
He was going to Baltimore to see the match for who knows why.
yeah,
But
like,
I
why are
did.
you doing
He
that?
can be a little bit of a wise ass, you know that?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
No.
That's unbelievable.
Sometimes he forgets he's 16 years old. You know that he really does. So what's the topic of the day?
We got a million things we
Go
can
ahead, let's
start
hear
with.
it. Go
I
ahead.
guess obviously that the story unfortunately is this the worst season in New York baseball history?
I guess you know what, if you use both teams as a barometer and then couple it with the expectations, I would say yes. Because let's be honest, nobody expected this from the Mets. And while the Yankees, I didn't like a lot of things about the team starting the season, I would never have thought they'd be 60-64. Okay, they have just done a total collapse. As a team, the symbol of this season to me is Rizzo. Okay, on Memorial Day weekend, I took Jack to see the Padres. And we were sitting right near the Padre dugout, and there was a collision, and didn't realize, nor did the Yankees, because the Yankees didn't know he was hurt. But he had a good season up until then, and then he was like in a fog the rest of the year, and that's been with the Yankees. The Yankees, this is the worst offensive team I can remember for the Yankees. The only teams I can put in this same level would be the Stump Merrill teams, which you just waited around for Kevin Moss to hit a home run, if you remember Kevin Moss, okay? Those teams were dreadful. This team has 4 or 5 guys who should never have ever been allowed to wear a Yankee uniform, okay? It is a dreadful baseball team. And then with the pitchers going down as they have, plus they overrated the bullpen. With Yankees, overrated all the talent all the time. They did not have one guy you could count on in the bullpen. They had some live arms, but not one guy you can count on in a big spot. And other than Cole, who I don't like, but I think has pitched well for the most part this year, although, he spits the bit when he sees the Red Sox. We know that. The bottom line is it's just everything's gone wrong, but they were put together terribly, and they deserve what they got. And now whether or not that will make Hal get off the dime, I'm not sure, because you know what? If they keep drawing 42,000 people a game, which is what they're drawing right now, he might not do anything because he's making a ton of money. And until that stops, and that would take years to stop, the Yankees, because the people have gotten ingrained of going to the Yankee Stadium. The Yankees have never drawn as consistently as they've drawn from this last generation down. So they're making a lot of money, and I think they've gotten very complacent with the money they're making and how they play.
What about how bad the Mets have been?
I think, sometimes years just go bad where everybody has a bad year. Okay, last year they got a great year out of Marte. He's been terrible this year. They got a great year out of McNeil. He's had a terrible year this year. Go down the list. Now they took a real risk with Verlander and Scherzer, putting them together. When you talk about the money they got and the age, also they've never liked each other. So they've never liked each other. So everyone knew that, and that was an issue. And having Diaz go down now, I'm telling you right now, I would find my players. I would chain them to the spring training fence before I would let them play in any kind of function in spring, okay? I don't care. If I was an owner, I'd tell them, I'm not sending my players under any circumstances. Am I sending my players to get hurt before the season starts when I'm paying them a fortune? I think that's ridiculous, okay? And that was a perfect example. You lose Diaz right, and Diaz was great last year, and that now the bullpen's short, and you take it from there. They don't hit, and everything that could have gone wrong did. But here's the thing. Everybody's fooling themselves if they think they're going to be good next year. They have no way to put a pitching staff together. They have nobody in the minor leagues who can pitch. Nobody's going to allow them to buy an entire pitching staff. Senga looks like he's okay. Okay, maybe he's on his best day or two. Maybe. He's got good stuff. He's got to learn to pitch on the road well. He's got to go more to the fastball. But I think he got a chance to be pretty good. Other than that, they don't have any pitching. They don't have any. And it's going to be very hard for them to get back in 1 year. Very hard.
Which team has a brighter future, the Mets or the Yankees? I think the Mets do.
Why?
Because they have the money. Cohen will spend.
They
The
both
Yankees
have the money.
The Yankees are tied to so many long-term deals.
The Yankees have gotten old. That's the problem. See, I was so against the Stanton deal for so many reasons. Number one, they already had enough right-handed hitting, and slow right-handed power hitters have become their whole staple. And they didn't need to lock up all that money. That was a big problem. And that's why, although they got him for nothing, they got him for nothing because nobody else would take him. The Giants were going to take him then when that happened. They unload him, okay? And the Yankees take him, and it's a disaster. He does not fit. He's had one good postseason. We know that. But he does not fit. Is he a home run hitter? Yes. Is he a streaky home run hitter? Yes. But the bottom line is I hate the way he plays. And they're old. Bringing Donaldson in was a farce. Bringing Stanton in made no sense. Rizzo, the only reason I liked it was because I've been begging for some left-handed power. The Yankees were built. Their whole history is built on left-handed power and power pitching. They don't have any left-handed hitters. They haven't had a leadoff hitter in years. Okay, so they are so badly put together. It's going to take them a while. I think the Yankees, though, because of the pitching, will be better than the Mets next year because if they get those pitchers that they have on the contract healthy, they have a pitching staff, okay? The Mets don't. The Mets have no pitching staff. And I don't think the Mets, a lot of scapegoating is going on to try to pin this whole thing on Alonso. And I think that's a little bit because Lindor's got the owner's ear more than Alonso does, okay? He's kind of the golden boy. He is the guy who gets along real well with ownership. So I think there's a little of that going on. But I'd be very careful of trading a guy who wants to play every day and who knocks in 120 runs and hits 40 homers every year. I don't care what they think of him. That's a tough guy to trade. So you better get a lot for him if you're going to deal him.
I would say switching over kind of a similar question, but with football. When was the last you remember both teams in New York having this much hype going into the season, especially the Jets? Where both teams are looking pretty good.
I don't think in the same year. I don't think the Giants are great yet, okay? Sure. They stole a lot of games last year. I think last year. I think the Giants were better coached last year than any team in the league.
Yep, for sure.
Okay? The head coach he's a real head coach. I mean, he's a serious head coach. He's almost a little bit of a cross between an Andy Reid and a Parcells.
Players love him, too.
You know, players like him, and he's a tough guy. He can actually yell at players. He gets into guys' faces, and he knows what he's doing, and he's completely in control, okay? I think the Jet coach is so far a fake, okay? I don't think he's real, okay?
I agree with that.
And I think he says what he thinks will get him through the day, and I don't trust him as far as I could throw him, okay? But the Giants are brilliantly coached. The defensive coordinator was a genius last year, okay? He stole games with his blitz packages. They stole 5 or 6 games last year. This year, tougher schedule. They're going to be better. They're going to be much better. Offensive line's vastly improved. They have a tight end who's going to catch 80, 90 balls if he's healthy. I mean, there's no question he's going to catch 80, 90 balls. They are going to be good, better than last year, but they might not have a better record. The Jets, if they don't screw this up, and they have a ton of talent, and I think Rodgers is going to have a huge year. There's 2 things that scare the heck out of me. I think the offensive line is very shaky, and I'm very concerned about the left side. Number 2, I don't trust the coaching staff, okay? Nathaniel Hackett, you know what? Everyone got on Sean Payton. Everything Sean Payton said was true. Nathaniel Hackett was one of the worst coaches I ever saw.
Bad.
Okay? He can't coach a lick.
Bad.
He's lucky he has Rodgers. He wouldn't be in the league if he didn't have Rodgers, okay? He better hope Rodgers never retires because he won't be in the league when he retires. All right? Everything Sean said, Sean didn't say it because coaches don't knock coaches, but everything Sean said was true. The team was terribly coached last year. That guy's a terrible coach. You know what? He can latch on to a good quarterback. Great. Anyone could do that. You know, Rodgers is a brilliant player. And I think the jump at quarterback from last year to this year is the biggest jump in one season for any team in the history of the NFL. From a quarterback who couldn't play dead to one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen. That is an incredible jump.
More so than the Bucs with Brady?
Better, because that's how bad the Jets were at quarterback.
He was horrific.
Okay.
Statistically, he was the worst quarterback in NFL history. He started 20 games.
And listen, Tom.
But Brady's Brady. Yeah.
Tom is not better than Rodgers.
Right.
He's won more. He was with the right team, and he won more. And Rodgers' postseasons haven't been great. Okay, like Manning's weren't great. Peyton's. I mean, his postseasons haven't been great, but he's a great player. Okay, great player. He's as good at the position physically and accurate with the ball as anybody I've ever seen. They have a lot of skill. I love Cook. I love Hall. I love Wilson. They have a chance to be incredibly explosive if the offensive line works and if the coaches don't get in the way. And like I said, I don't trust the coaches. Plus, they got a lot of pass rush too. The new kid is a good pass rusher. They are going to be really good on defense. I always loved Sauce Gardner. I watched him in Cincinnati a lot. Loved them. Okay, they're giving him way too much publicity now. Don't talk about him in the Hall of Fame the second year. I mean, it's ridiculous. Okay?
They're only setting him up.
It's just so stupid. I mean, but they have a chance to be really good. But I really worry about those two things. Giants are not going to lose any games because of the coach. I don't think they're going to lose any games because of the quarterback. I think their defense still has to take a bigger leap, especially in the back seven. And I think the schedule is very hard. So I think the Giants could be 2 years from now. I think the Giants are going to be ready to really be top of the league. I think it might take 1 more year.
Can I defend Hackett for a second?
Do anything you want. It's your show. It's not my show.
So Hackett was a horrible head coach last year. Atrocious.
No question. There
about
aren't even words for how bad he was.
No argument here. But he can, I think, be a decent coordinator. Like we saw it with Dick LeBeau. Like you can be a good coordinator.
You can be with Aaron Rodgers. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Don't have to do anything.
But do you think you can be a good coordinator even if you are maybe the worst head coach ever?
Absolutely. Not even a question. The two best examples of that ever. Number one, Bill Arnsparger, if you guys are old enough to remember this. Bill Arnsparger coached the defense for the undefeated Dolphins. Shula let Arnsparger run. It was the Arnsparger defense, okay? It was his defense, one of the great defenses of all time. That's Arnsparger's defense. Arnsparger, everybody wanted him to be a head coach. He was as good a defensive coordinator and as famous a defensive coordinator as you could possibly be. He went 7-24 as the head coach of the Giants. He couldn't recruit you out of a burning building, okay? The guy had no personality, okay? Norv Turner, who I love personally, I've known him forever, was a terrible head coach. He was a great offensive coordinator. He's a great play caller. He's a terrible head coach because he let players walk all over him. He couldn't stop it, and he didn't want to stop it. It wasn't his nature. That change, you never know. And anyone who tells you they know is so full of garbage. You don't know if a coordinator, no matter how good he is, if he's going to be a good head coach. Because all of a sudden, if you're a coordinator, you are in charge of your offense. You deal with your offense. You deal with the play calling. All that's yours. That's fine. When you're a head coach, you're in charge of every problem that comes near the team. Off the field, on the field, player stuff, anything that affects the players, anything that affects the coaches, anything that affects your team. You have so many problems to solve and so many things you have to deal with. You don't know who can handle that. Dable's an example of a guy who is a real head coach. But you don't know that until they do it. You don't know which guy's going to be. No one can tell me they know which coordinator is going to be good and which not, because you have to change your personality when you become a head coach. You got to be a bit of a jerk, and you got to be tough, because otherwise you're going to get trampled. That's all there is to it. You can't be a sweetheart and be a really, like everyone thinks Andy Reid, and I know Andy forever. Anyone thinks Andy doesn't have a hard side. He does. He does. He doesn't show it a lot, but he does. He's the boss. They know he's the boss. That has to be there, or you can't be successful as a head coach.
That's why I agree with you with Saleh, because Saleh kind of, when I watch these, even Hard Knocks too, it kind of looks like it's all for show.
It's all for show.
And it's like, it's hard for guys, because the Giants seem like they want to die for Dable. They literally would like run through a wall for him. And I do think that Aaron Rodgers runs that team. He's the head coach.
Well,
right?
I mean, that show has been staged to make Aaron. They were trying to get Aaron a Nobel Peace Prize, I think. You know? I mean, it's just ridiculous. They got him. Hey, you want to go to lunch, buddy? You want to do that? I mean, shut up. This is so staged. It's ridiculous.
That's what I thought too.
I mean, where they try to get him. You know, he has every award. He doesn't need any more awards. Okay. I mean, that's just ridiculous. But I gather, and I didn't see this, but someone I heard mention it when I was driving the other day, that Saleh made the comment that the best coach teams coach themselves. That may be the dumbest thing I ever heard. I've never heard anything dumber. Teams don't coach themselves. It doesn't work that way. Ask Bill Belichick if the team coaches itself. Ask Bill Parcells if the team coaches itself. It doesn't. No. I promise you it doesn't.
Super Bowl sleepers this year. Who do you think's kind of flying under the radar?
And how dumb is everyone saying how Justin Fields is like MVP caliber?
I don't get that.
But thank you.
I'll tell you, if you have a rotisserie team, you might want, or a fantasy team, you might want to get him.
Yeah,
because he
rushing
stacks
yards
up
and-
points.
Yeah.
He's going to run for a lot of yards. He's going to throw some big plays. He's going to have some big touchdowns. But I don't see that at all. I think I've heard that a lot. I think it doesn't make any sense. Okay?
Ohio State alum. You want to
Yeah.
go at him or you going to
Well,
count?
I
I think he's
What do you
going to
wanna
win the
do?
MVP.
Well, no, I didn't say that.
He's an Ohio State guy. He's an Ohio
That's
State
okay.
guy.
I'm
You
a
want to tell
fan
me
of
he's going to be
obviously-
okay? That's fine. I have no problem with that. He's not a bad player, but the bottom line is MVP. That's hard.
I didn't like how many. It's the most bet ticket I think in Vegas.
It's
which I
crazy.
don't like.
That's crazy.
But I've backed him in terms of I believe in his future progressing as a passer. I think that's going to come with the weapons, and I think he takes a big step this year with DJ Moore, Claypool, full year in the offense. I just think there's room to improve there. The line got a little better. They say Darnell Wright looks good in camp. The tackle they drafted.
I'm old-fashioned in that I don't like quarterbacks, and that's why I'm not the biggest Daniel Jones fan. I don't like quarterbacks who have to use their legs to be effective. If Daniel Jones doesn't run, he's not a really great quarterback. He has to run. If you can't beat everybody from the pocket, I don't really want you as my quarterback because there's going to come a time where you can't get it. First of all, in playoff games, you notice running quarterbacks never do well in playoff games. Okay? They really don't. They don't have a habit of doing well in playoff games. And the bottom line is regular season, they can get away with things because the planning's different and everything's different. But and you get a lot of bad defenses in the league too. But I don't love quarterbacks like that. I would prefer a quarterback. Now, I'd like a guy who can escape, but I don't want to run a first. I don't love that guy. I've never been a big fan of those guys. As far as teams that are going to do well, I believe Cincinnati has a chance to be tremendous this year. If he stays healthy, and I think he is at the top of the league as a quarterback. I think he is a brilliant quarterback. I think he's fearless. I think he is accurate. I think he's a leader. I think he's never afraid to make a play. I think he is a really top-level quarterback, almost as good. I could live with him. Like, if you gave me him, I'd be really happy. I'd be happy to have him. That's how good he is. And he has great wide receivers. And the coach is good. The coaching staff's good. I think they could have a very big season. Like, I think if he's healthy, I think they could be up around 12, 13 wins. I think they'll have a very good season. I like them. I think the rest of the AFC is the same old faces. I think the Jets are going to have a good year. I think obviously Buffalo's got some issues to solve, but they still have talent. And Kansas City's not going anywhere. I mean, that's all there is to it. They've retooled. They changed things. Okay, they had to change things because they couldn't afford Hill. They decided we're going to build the offensive line back. We're going to keep Kelsey at any price. But we're going to let the wide receiver walk because we couldn't pay all of them. You can't pay all of them. Once your quarterback's into his second contract and he's good, he's going to take a big chunk. That's all there is to it. The only guy who didn't was Brady. In New England, he really didn't. But other than that, they're going to take a big chunk. So it's going to affect your salary cap. But I think Kansas City is going to still be that run isn't over by any stretch. I think that Philadelphia is still really good. I don't think there's any question their line play on both sides, and they've done a good job of replacing the guys that they lost. I think they are very good. I think San Francisco is very good too. I think they are, and if the quarterback comes back as fast as it sounds like he's coming back, I think they will be a very serious team. I don't like the Cowboys. I'm not a big Dak guy. I think they have a good team. They have some talent, but I don't think they're going to be a championship threat. So I think you're really not going to get a shocker. I don't think with anywhere from as far as the Super Bowl goes.
Dave might not like this. The Patriots going to make the playoffs or not?
I'd be surprised. I don't think they have enough talent.
I don't think so either.
I don't think he's done a good job replenishing the talent, and it's hard to do. It really is, and it's hard to come up with another player. The way they came up with Brady was crazy. It really was, and it was the late Dick Rabine who really pounded the table and wanted him. And, they waited for him, and they knew they had something special, and it turned out to be even better than that. But it's tough now. I don't see it. Listen, Belichick's brilliant. Belichick and I never really been close, but you can't dispute what he does and how good he is at what he does. He's really good at what he does. They'll always be in the games. That's who they are. But I don't think they have enough talent. I really don't, especially on offense.
What about your guy, Trevor Lawrence, Dad?
I think they are close. I don't think they're championship yet, but I believe Trevor Lawrence is going to be a very big star. Always did. I think he was great last year late in the season. He came on like gangbusters. There's nothing he doesn't have. I think he's going to be very good. And I think that team is probably a year away from – I think they'll make the playoffs, but I think they're a year away from being real serious.
I'm sorry to go back to the
Yeah.
Yankees real fast,
Go ahead.
but it's been a struggle, obviously, every single game. How are the Yankees not going to
Struggle. It's been unwatchable.
I know. It's like I laughed the other day. I was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I giving them the time? But how is Cashman not get fired? Like, they're going to scapegoat Boone this year. He's going to get fired. How is Cashman, who continually just doesn't – we did nothing at the trade deadline. How is Cody Bellinger not on that team 2 weeks before? It makes no
Well, the
sense.
Cubs wouldn't trade him because they thought they were in it. That
At
was
first
why.
they had him on the trading block, and then all of a sudden they went on an 8-game winning streak.
Had they not get
Like,
Olsen? They had Olsen. They were targeting Olsen for 2 years, and they let him get out of town.
We haven't had a left fielder for 2 years.
And they haven't had a leadoff hitter for years.
Yeah.
Okay, not one. And they have a bunch of right-handed hitters who either hit singles or are slow and have some power. And it's a joke what they're playing right now. And yesterday is a perfect example. And what is this now? We got moral victories after the game. I'm watching the game, and
that's
it's
fucking
well, the
awesome.
Yankees actually fought today. I thought I have to be impressed by how they fought back. We're impressed by how the Yankees fought back and lost.
Yeah, it
Disgusting.
did nothing.
And we're going to blame it on the play at the plate where they said the umpire screwed them? Oh, really? How many? Want me to go over how many calls the Yankees have gotten in their lives?
Yeah.
I mean,
Jeffrey Maya.
oh,
Been
please.
thrown out of the building,
Disgrace.
Mike.
Disgrace. And Phil Cuzzy called the ball foul that the Twins hit once that was fair by about 9 miles, okay? They've
You know,
gotten
the next
so many
year
breaks.
some idiot in Montreal did that, and they
Hey.
took him out in handcuffs. Jeffrey May is getting he got the key to the city.
Hey.
That's disgusting.
He wanted to come on our show, so we let him come on our show. After the whole thing happened, the kid was getting the keys to the city.
Yeah.
Came on the show, and we told him, listen, you little jerk, don't touch the ball next time.
I need
okay?
that tape.
It should
I love that.
should not have that should have been an out. It should never have gone down, and that was a joke that went down the way it went down. And the kid should never be praised for touching the ball. Okay, that was ridiculous. If that happened to the Yankees on the road, they want the FBI there.
Yes.
Okay, I mean that is a joke. But here's the thing: now we're into moral victories. Wait, the Yankees fought back. What? What are we talking about? And then the ninth inning, not one person mentioned this. Ninth inning, Allen, who's not a bad reserve, okay, he's okay. He could be on the bench. He's not a terrible player. Hits a double off the wall, right? They hit LeMahieu. Now, they hit LeMahieu, and I'm gathering LeMahieu couldn't stay in the game, okay? But why does Boone, and I don't like Cabrera, but why does he run Cabrera when he knows he's got Mr. 098 in the hole, right? And he's going to get up, and now he's got. Why doesn't he have a pitcher? It's the backside of the two bases. He's the second runner. Put a pitcher in there so that you can bat Cabrera for Mr. 098, who ended the game with a fly ball. But before that, no one mentioned that Judge struck out, and then obviously right behind him another strikeout. It's ridiculous how bad they are now.
Yep.
Ridiculous. And you look at Turner. Turner, the Dodgers made a mistake with Turner. Everyone makes a mistake when they give up Turner. This guy's an amazing hitter.
Best.
What he did yesterday was unbelievable. And the Red Sox had like 6 guys in the lineup who had OPSs over 8. Every Yankee guy's in the 6s. They're awful.
You used to never see anyone with a batting average. I know batting average is all out there, but 98.98 is one of the most.
Oh,
biggest
98.
jokes.
I don't care if he's Clay Dalrymple defensively. I don't care if he's Jerry Grody. You're not getting in my lineup hitting 098.
No, it should never be an option. It's insane.
Now it's 095.
What are the
A
Yankees?
Yankee
Fly
hitting,
out.
the Yankees used to have Brocious with 95 RBIs batting ninth. Now they got a guy batting 095.
That's exactly. You're me on my couch yesterday. I said Ben Rodvet coming up.
Give me a break.
never.
And you know what they say? Oh, you don't understand. Analytically, he's a great defensive
Oh, that
pitcher.
pisses
I
me
don't
off.
care if he's Clay
Pisses me
Dalrymple.
off, Mike. I hate the statistics, people. You should be able to watch the guy, and that guy's a
Give
fat
me a
bastard who
break.
sucks.
Give me a break. The guy can't hit a lick.
You want to know who's a stat guy? that freak right there.
Cabrera.
that guy, absolutely.
I don't want to pick. I hate picking on players who I think are marginal because they're trying to hang in the major leagues. I never like to pick on those guys. I want to pick on the good guys. I don't want big guys. I don't want to pick on guys like Cabrera. But Cabrera is terrible. I mean, I'm sorry, he's terrible.
He is.
Okay, the Yankees put guys in the field who can't field. They put guys up who can't hit. I mean, and they make a big deal out of guys who are marginal guys. I mean, the idea that you have guys on this team that just never would be in a Yankee uniform. It's crazy. But Cashman, they're going to look at the body of work and say, hey, look, we make the playoffs 20 out of 22. We do this. But the real number to watch is 42,000.
Yep. They're second
42,000 behind the
most,
Dodgers.
yep.
42,000 a game. If they're
Doesn't
going
matter.
to, they print money because not only is it 42,000 a game, but the Yankees get more per capita than any team in baseball. It's $40 to park. It's $9.50 for a beer that cost them a quarter. Okay, maybe 35 cents now. Okay, go down the list of how you buy the kid a Yankee cap, you buy him a jersey. You know what? They have to take out a loan to do that. Okay, I mean it's crazy how much money they print. They're on. Yes, obviously their network. They're on Apple Plus. They're on 3 different streaming places. They have a lot of teams don't make a dime on radio. They make a fortune on radio. Okay, they make so much money. It's unbelievable. They could spend as much money as they want. Okay, and they are not doing that anymore. They are looking at the bottom line more and more. And people say, "Well, look, there's number 2 and spend." They make so much more money than everybody else. That's the thing, and they're not spending it.
So one guy that idiot with the beard likes is Giancarlo Stanton.
I don't.
What did they do with him?
I don't like him. You have to like him because we have him for fucking 10 more years.
You can't get rid of him.
Yeah, like we have. What am I gonna do?
What are they gonna do with him?
When they brought him in, that was the first thing I said. He is never going to leave. There's no way to get rid of him unless you pay off the contract.
Yeah.
Do what the Mets did, which is stuff that has never been done before. The Mets paid $56 million for a guy that I hope is going to be a good prospect because they paid $56 million for him. So, they paid contracts off to get rid of guys. And Scherzer goes out and throws a one-hitter the other night, strikes out 11, right?
I mean, you knew that was coming.
But do you think that sometimes when the like the Mets have been like embarrassing as an organization?
Snake bit. As I've always said, the Mets could screw up a one-car funeral.
See? But that's a thing where we talk about pedigree of organizations. Like the Jets have been.
That's not the Met pedigree anymore. First of all, they're owned by a guy who, let's be honest, went out and made $15 billion. So you can never call a guy stupid who makes $15 billion.
No.
Unless I make $15 billion, I'm never calling a guy stupid who made $15 billion. Okay.
But even if he has that much money, right? He's spending it on the wrong players.
Well, not only that, he right now hasn't gotten what he wants. He wants that big head of franchise. He wanted Theo Epstein. Theo wanted a piece of the team. Mm-hmm. He said, not happening. Okay, Theo wanted points. He didn't get him. Now he wants Stearns. Okay.
How do you look at Theo Epstein's resume and not give him that?
Oh, he won't. Lot of guys
saved Boston, saved the Cubs.
A lot of guys find that they don't want partners. I'm sure they would have said to him, "You can write a check for your salary, but you're not my partner." I'm not sure I'd give somebody points either. I have to admit. But hey, listen, I would have told Theo, here's a blank check. Okay, you can fill in the numbers. I'll pay you what you want, but you're still an employee. You're not an owner. Okay, you're not getting points. And Theo wanted points. He thought, I've earned points. I'm getting points. Everybody wants that now. That's what all the great players want. They don't want to be coaches anymore. They don't want to be managers anymore. They want to be owners. Like Michael Jordan, they want to turn no money into $900 million. That's exactly what they all want to do, which is what Tom Brady's doing now. Okay, Tom Brady's not going to be a broadcaster. He's going to be an owner. Okay, he's already got part of the team. He's going to be an owner. These guys want to be owners. Peyton Manning wants to be an owner. These guys, Derek Jeter wants to be an owner.
A-Rod, the Timberwolves.
A-Rod, you know what? And he will be an owner even more because A-Rod's made himself a ton. He made more money on the field than any player ever. He made almost $600 million in contracts. He has made a fortune off the field. He's very, very well off. So I could see him being very much an owner in the years to come. Yes.
What do you? How do you feel about everything that's going on in college ball now with the NIL, transfer portal, now conference realignment?
It's over.
Huge.
It's over. The NCAA doesn't even exist anymore, because I always hated the NCAA with a passion. They were the biggest phonies.
Yep, of course.
The NCAA worries about a kid getting a T-shirt or a free meal or paying for a coach going in his pocket to pay money for the kid to go home for his mom's funeral.
Yep.
They
Barry Switzer.
they go after that kid, but they give their employees in Shawnee Mission free mortgages, okay, or 2% mortgages. They're a bunch of thieves, is what they've always been.
I think Rick Majerus' line was when he paid for a dinner for a kid or a funeral.
Van
same
Horn.
thing.
Van Horn.
He goes, "This is like writing a parking ticket while somebody's robbing the bank across
Rick
the street."
Majerus, as Harrison knows, and I were very close. He used to come to my house whenever he came to New York, okay? He and I were very close for a long time. He was the most honest man who he never cheated a day in his life. Did he pay Van Horn's way home? Yes, he did. What, the kid didn't have any money. He had to go home. He put the money on the table and let him go home.
He also had to tell him his dad died in a diner.
I mean, that's right. I mean, come on now. I mean, have a heart. They've never, but now they can't control. First of all, there's no NCAA, so that's out. Now the football program, remember the football programs and the basketball programs are very different. The basketball programs are part of the university. The football programs are basically their own little entities, okay? Especially the superpowers. Now, I've been hearing about the Super League since the 70s. We've been hearing about that, the Super 60 we used to call it, that there would be the break-off of the Super 60 teams, okay? And it's like musical chairs that you played as a kid. You know what? You better hope there's a chair when the music stops. Like for Stanford now, there's not a chair. Yep. And Stanford says, Mountain. Are you kidding me? We're going to the Mountain West? Are you out of your mind? We're Stanford. We're not going to the Mountain West. We're going where we want. And they found out, well, you're not going where we want because we don't care. We don't want you. The bottom line is they probably might try to stay independent in football. They could do that with their money, but it's not going to be pretty for them recruiting. Notre Dame can stay. Remember something about Notre Dame. They can stay, and I think they always will stay. I've always said this. They will stay independent in football because they will never share their TV money with anybody. Yep. They never have. Remember this. Notre Dame is the only team in the history of our country, the history of sport, that has always had every game on national television coast to coast. The lowest they go is ESPN.
I heard you say that on the air. I was astonished. I did the math then. Yeah, it's
they go to NBC home games. ABC takes them any good road game, and then ESPN grabs the other road games. Dallas Cowboys don't have that because the 1 o'clock map, if you're playing a 1 o'clock game, there are 4 other teams playing. And if you've ever seen the map for television, they do a map for fans who don't understand this. They do a 1 o'clock map by Thursday. And the map will say Dallas game's going to 72% of the country. The Steeler game's going to 12% of the country. This game's going to 2%, 3%. But no game is going to 100% of the country, okay, unless it's a primetime game. So no NFL team has this. No basketball team has this. The New York Yankees don't have this. Nobody has this. They've had it forever, and they won't share. They won't. Now, they've got themselves in a decent place for the rest of their sports. But the real question is this. Where is NIL going? They're gonna be players. There's gonna be a guy comes out that's like LeBron James who's out of high school very soon. Okay, whoever he is, a guy like Wemby if he had been available.
Yeah.
Okay, someone's gonna give him $5 million to play in college.
Well, so the Tennessee kid that I think might start in not this
Right.
year, next
What's
year.
They're starting at $2 million. They're talking $8 million. There you
I think
go.
he's getting $7.
Hey, somebody might get $20 million.
They might.
You know what I mean? If it's Texas A&M, the place is floating on oil wells. They might get $20 million. The point is, it's completely out of control. There's no way to put it back in the bottle. It's over. Look at what Patino did. He comes to St. John's now. He tells Soriano, the center, you're here. The rest of you guys get lost. He brings in a whole new team in 1 year.
Do you have to?
And Mike Rapoli, who's a friend of mine, is funding the whole thing.
Yeah, you have to recruit your own team now. It
Every
used
year.
to be like, oh, you're good for 3 years.
Can't
now.
develop a player.
No, you
3
have
years.
to.
It
No,
can't
they're
happen.
not going to wait.
Can't happen.
See, that's why Jay Wright left, because Jay Wright wanted to take a player as a freshman and develop him. So I have him as a junior and a senior as a great player, and I develop him along. I keep developing him year after year. You can't do that anymore. Now you bring a team in 1 year because everyone's going to try and take your players away, and they're going to take them away at a big price. It's out of control. I don't know how you get it back in the bottle. I don't think you do.
But it's interesting you said the NCAA was frauds, and the way I look at it, do you think it's almost fair? I agree, they're probably overpaid when you look at it, but do you think it's fair that for 40, 50 years these kids weren't getting a dime, and now they're entitled?
Well, first of all, we know some of them were always getting a dime. Okay?
Sure.
I can tell you now, I did games for years for CBS. I worked at CBS 17 years. I did a lot of games, okay? I drove by, I won't say, I drove by schools where the student parking lot was full of BMW.
Oh yeah.
Okay, 280Zs. Okay, better cars than you could ever want, and and they were getting them for free. So this.
I guess I meant legally. Yeah.
Yes, I mean this had gone on for a long time at some schools. Some schools didn't do it, but you know what? The system is completely flawed. There's no way. See, what college wants is they want to be Harvard Monday to Friday and Alabama on Saturday.
Yep.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
They just had
That's exactly what they want to be, and it can't happen. It doesn't work.
It's the Wild West. I mean, they had 30. They said 30 years of changes in 2 years.
Yeah, and there's no way to put it back in the bottle. Now, remember, you can't make them pros though, because if you make them a minor league, you bring in workman's comp,
Yep.
unions,
Yep.
OSHA.
Injuries.
You bring in all of a sudden they're not different than the Teamsters.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is, you make them a union, you might as well forget it. So this is a scam now. It hasn't even all shaken out yet, but it's not going to be pretty. And you're going to see schools, even in basketball, drop out of big leagues. You're going to have schools drop out of the Big East. You're going to have schools drop out of leagues because they can't compete year after year. They can't come up with the money.
Two things in college. I know you made your bones in college. I've always been fascinated with the college with you. I've always wondered this. Were you ever approached to be on the selection committee?
No. NCAA hated me.
What's okay?
I mean,
You know
the way
why?
he just
Because
said it,
I went on TV and defended Tarkanian, who won a lawsuit against the NCAA. And I like Talk. I knew what Talk was doing, okay? But I also knew what the NCAA had done to Talk was unbelievable, okay? When he had a good team at Long Beach State and UCLA had a lot of clout, UCLA didn't want to play them, so they made sure they didn't play them in the NCAA tournament. Yep. It was a joke what they did to him, okay? He had the Poindexter brothers at Long Beach State before he ever went to UNLV, and he got screwed there. They were after him forever. So the NCAA never liked me. So I that was never, ever going to happen. I was hard on the NCAA, as hard as I can be. The NCAA tried for years. I give CBS credit. The NCAA tried for years to get me off television. I mean, they hated that I was there. The NCAA guy, I used to go to Final Four, and the NCAA guys wouldn't even talk to me. They didn't even invite me to the functions. Wow. I wouldn't even.
The pumps party and all that stuff?
And Thursday night party and everything. I never got to go. I mean,
Great networking event.
They couldn't stand me. Because I was honest. I said what was going on. And for years, CBS, they looked the other way. I have to admit, they really did.
And then, given how greedy the NCAA is, and obviously the expansion of the college football playoff, how long can we enjoy this 68 teams in the tournament? How long before they start to expand it and kind of ruin it? Or actually,
I don't think it's going to expand
at all.
No,
You think they'll still keep that pure?
I don't think they want to fool with that. I really don't. There's been this talk that if we expand it one more weekend, we could put everybody in. But really, you have that anyway. The conference tournaments are really an extension of the NCAA, because if you're a small league, if you're the Patriot League, you have to win that to get into the NCAA tournament. Well, already, once the conference tournament starts, if you're in a small league, if you're in a one-bid league, you have to win your conference tournament to get into the NCAA. So the tournament really begins that week. And as far as the at-large teams, there's no way to keep a league that, like the Big East this year, is going to have 3 or 4 teams that are in the top 10. Hey, those teams are all going to the NCAA tournament before the season starts. You know that going in. Just realize, you can sit down if you're a college basketball fan and put 40 teams in the tournament tomorrow. Yep. So you know that, okay? There's going to be a couple of surprises. There's going to be surprises out of the one-bid leagues. But now with the movement of players, it's just crazy. I mean, that's, when you see a kid like Max Abness, who's been a wonderful player at Oral Roberts, now jumps, he doesn't leave, he stays, and Handos, we've followed him a lot, and he's a wonderful little player. And look at guys jumping out of the Ivy League going big time, jumping out of small leagues and going big time once they make their bones in the small league.
Patino got 2 of them.
Yeah, Patino got a bunch of them. Absolutely, he sure did.
Anything about Hunter Dickinson?
Yeah, well,
To Kansas.
Yeah.
I told him he was here.
Yeah, yeah. He told me he was here the other day. Hey. Big schools can steal from the other. Basically, everyone's targeting your players. It's like right now that if you take a starter and bench him, that night he's getting 42 phone calls. Yeah. Hey, kid, you know what? I wouldn't have benched you. Come here next year. And by the way, you want $1 million? Well, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Do you ever get anything about your accent? Because I have obviously an accent.
I did when I was on national television, okay? I never tried to change. First when I went on TV, they wanted me to change my name.
Really?
I said no chance. Wow. Okay.
None of us would do that.
Hey, I'm an Italian.
That guy right here
I'm
would never
I'm
do
an
that.
Italian from New York. Okay.
Rico
so
Bosco,
that's
come
it.
on.
I mean, the bottom line is that's how different it was then. Okay.
Yeah.
And when I went on TV, first of all, I was one of the first guys that got on national television as an analyst who was not an All-America or wasn't a coach or a player. It had never happened. There was Pete Axelm, who was a great writer on NBC. Will McDonough, who was really the we used to always call him the next owner. That's how powerful he was as the writer for the Boston Globe. He was that big in the NFL. Everything came from Will McDonough, okay, because he went back with all those guys before the NFL even started to explode. And very few guys that got on TV. So when I got on TV, there'd be a lot of, he's not a coach, he's not a player. But I never worried about that stuff. Dennis Erickson, I did the Cotton Bowl. And this was the game, if you go back and look at it, and you can find it somewhere on YouTube. You find everything on YouTube.
The documentary with the penalties.
Yeah, well, they got all the personal fouls, right? So they're killing Texas. They're actually sacking the quarterback, smacking guys, getting 15-yard penalty, getting moved back up, and then sacking the quarterback, smacking guys. I mean, this went on, and it was absurd. And I went after them at halftime. And then after the game, Dennis Erickson went after me and ripped me apart because I went after his precious team. His team was an embarrassment that day. I mean, they won easy, but what they did, they were out of control. I mean, and they all admitted. I mean, the players admitted to me they were out of control. They said, we behaved all year. We told them today, no rules. And they went out and they must have gotten 8 personal fouls that day. So poor Texas was getting destroyed. Okay, but. You don't worry about that stuff. If you're going to do what you do in this business, you can't worry about that. I mean, you just have to. If you feel like you know what you're talking about and you can defend what you say, I never worried about it. I mean, did I have guys in my face at times? Absolutely. Did I have coaches? Hey, I almost got in a fist fight with Bobby Valentine once. Okay? I mean, I had players threaten me. I mean, not threaten me like they were going to do, you're going to find me in an alley, but hey,
Jeremy Shockey.
Jeremy Shockey never threatened me. Just said at a press conference he wished I had a heart attack and died.
No.
Because I fired him from my show. Well, this is a true story. We signed Jeremy Shockey. His agent begs us to sign him for Mike and the Mad Dog. We sign him. First week he comes on, everything's wonderful. He's going to be a sensation, of course, with the Giants, okay? You know what he said to me first day I went to camp? He said, hey, can you hook me up with Derek Jeter? I want to meet girls. That's what he said to me the first day I ever met him. And I said, yeah. So the bottom line was, first week he does a show. Second week, doesn't show up. His agent calls an hour later and says, he was detained, okay? We said, don't happen again. Third week, he doesn't show up. Agent calls up an hour later and said he had to pick his mother up at the airport. I said, went back on the air and said, Shockey will never come on our show again. He's fired. He went crazy. Like, how dare I fire him? Well, he didn't show up 2 weeks in a row. So, I mean, the kid was an idiot. He was a good player, but he was an idiot. I mean, the Giants let him do whatever he wanted, and he got what he deserved. You know what? He never was the player he was supposed to be. Same thing with Beckham. I had Beckham. I had such a problem with because Giants never criticized Beckham. They didn't do anything to him. Tom Coughlin was a disciplinarian. He never did anything to him. The bottom line is I said things about Beckham. So I'm supposed to do a giant wrap-up thing. Beckham's getting paid a ton of money to do this. 8 Giants show up. I show up. Beckham doesn't show up. I'm not going to tell you what he got paid for. It was a lot of money. And then his mother calls up and says he wouldn't do it because I was emceeing it. Okay? I mean, give me a break. I mean, they spoil these guys rotten. And listen, Beckham never had the career he's supposed to have. Shockey never had the career he's supposed to have. It's more than talent. You have to be more than just a talented player. You have to learn how to be a consistent player and be good to your team and work hard. And a lot of these guys can't do that, and they mess up their careers. And I think when you look at it, Beckham, he might be good at finding contracts and somebody to take him, but I think he's ruined more teams than he's helped any teams. And I think the same thing for Shockey. Shockey should have had Shockey should have been one of the great players, and he wasn't, because I think they all babied him all the time. So, I mean, I just wasn't one to baby the players. If they were good, I loved them. I mean, I had players I had great relationships with. I had a great relationship with Bernie Williams, still do. He was a class act. He was a professional. Jeter was always amazingly professional. Manning was always incredibly professional. And then you got the knuckleheads. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Won the Super Bowl when he was hurt.
Yeah, up in the box.
I want to ask this. Going back, you were saying obviously how you were an All-American. You got on air more from your obviously sports style and stuff. I know these stories because or if you wanted to confirm this. My dad always told a story that early. I don't remember if it was hoops or it was football in college. It was either you had like a perfect bowl season or a perfect first round in the
bowl two
season, or tournament.
One was the NCAA tournament where I picked all the games from the regionals in exactly right. The other one was that I picked 10 bowl games, all right side, straight up and against the spread, 10 for 10. And they wrote about it in Newsweek and Time Magazine and everything else. The other one was the Porsche with Imus that I picked Seton Hall, and they lost in overtime in the championship game, but I picked them to get to the Final Four, and they lost the championship, went on a bad call against Michigan, if you remember, in the final game. But I'd say those three were the ones that really got me a lot of publicity. It was the NCAA tournament one. There was the 10 for 10 with the college, which got a lot of publicity. And then the other one was the Seton Hall pick in the Final Four. Those are the ones that kind of helped launch my career.
Do you miss doing radio every day?
No, I mean, I did it for so long. I really felt like I missed a lot of my kids. So I didn't get to their games. I didn't get to functions. I mean, my day would start, I'd leave at 10:30 in the morning, and I'd get back. If I didn't go to a game or have something at night, I'd get back at 8 o'clock at night. So I missed a lot of that, so I wanted to be around when they went to high school and see them play. I got to see them a little bit in Little League and stuff, but not a lot. I got to watch them all in high school. I got to watch Harrison. I got to watch Jack a lot, and Jack's now playing at Hamilton. He's a freshman tight end. And I should mention Emily, too, who's down at Villanova, but she wasn't an athlete, but I got to go to all her stuff, too. And Harrison's going to be a senior this year. Jack and Emily are twins. They're both freshmen in college. So I got to put up with home 1 year by himself.
That's going to be a problem.
This year. Has already. Dad, we're doing this. Dad, we're going to see the Angels this week. Dad, we're going to see this
doing a schedule?
UFC fight in November. I want
John Jones.
I want great seats at the Garden. I say, I hate that. I can't stand watching that kick.
He refuses to watch it.
I won't. I won't watch if they use their feet. I hate it. Okay. And he's like, Dad, we're going to see this guy at the Garden in November. I want great seats. And I'm like, he's like giving me an itinerary of what I have to do this fall. So I said I would take him. It's November something at the Garden.
11th.
Well, who's fighting? John Jones.
John Jones. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're doing that. So,
We'll wrap up soon.
Yeah,
But
we're up against it on radio.
Yeah, well, a little. But how did you deal with like a bunch of the callers, like especially moron callers?
I yelled at them.
That. And I think
talking
that's
about,
why you were the best at it, because you
I
didn't
yelled
take
at
anyone's
them.
shit.
No,
Yeah.
I yelled at him.
We're talking about Jerome and the train.
Well, but
nuts.
Jerome was colorful. We played Jerome because he was actually. I had coaches that would come up to me, head coaches, and say, Jerome is my favorite. I mean, I'm telling you,
That's
Jeff Van
great,
Gundy
though.
wouldn't miss a Jerome call. He loved Jerome. And some of these guys, they get a following. They really do. Like,
Him.
Frank. Well, Frank has what they say you do, right? And they say Frank the Tank does, right?
Yeah.
My brother-in-law told me, I love that Frank the Tank, and I had never seen Frank the Tank before recently, because I don't watch some of that stuff now. So, but Hat was telling me about him, and then one of my brother-in-law said, he's a big Met fan because I love Frank the Tank, and he's always right. He said
Frank's always right.
That's
He's
what he
never
says.
wrong.
He
No,
says
when
when
I,
he gets something, he says he's got a good take on the team. So
Yes.
I've never heard it, but he says he does. So but I wanted to always react. Here's how I looked at it, and I'd hear from people all the time that would say, is so mean to callers. And I'd say, listen, first of all, I worship my audience, but the callers are 2% of the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Most people never call. The caller is like, if you're standing on a stage and you're performing, the caller has walked onto the stage. Now he stands there. Well, if you're going to have the chutzpah or the balls to, it's Barstool, I can say balls.
Yeah, say a lot of things.
I can say anything in Boston.
literally
Let's
anything
be
you
honest.
want.
I mean, you can say anything under the sun. If you're going to stand there and come out, that means you have now the gravitas and the guts that you think you brought something to the table. Well, bring something to the table, and if you don't, you're going to hear it.
Yep.
So if
I
you
love
bring
that.
if you bring something intelligent to the table, I'll say, good. If you act like a clown or you say something ridiculous. Now, I get asked all the time, where did Giambi thing come from? I have no idea. I
That's
don't
literally
know.
what first.
I don't know
people
how
ask
it started.
all the time. How the Giambi thing started?
It was an internet thing, but I don't know. It was a game on the internet. I gather the game was to get on the show, you got points if you mentioned Giambi in a sentence.
I never did that.
And that's how it
Yeah,
started.
what, did you prank him at all?
Never. No. I
Better
asked him
not.
about
It
some
was the
crazy stuff,
Giambi
but,
one that's I gather that's how it started, because people ask me how did it start. I say I don't know.
No idea.
I really don't know.
I'll tell you something though. I still say Oosterhuizen. I still say Oosterhuizen all the time. It's my favorite thing you've ever said.
Well, we're up against it with radio. We'll let you go. This is an honor. You have an open
Hey.
invite, by the way. You got to get out of the house.
Thank
Ever
you.
With Harrison, we know he's a little bit of a
Thanks.
handful. This is a pick show. Out of respect,
Hey.
we're only going to do one pick today. You got something at Saratoga. You got a winner in baseball. One pick. None of us will roll the graphics, but you're the pick today. What's the pick?
All right. Well, I just have to go with on Wednesday. My horse Blue 85 is running at Saratoga. There's my pick.
All right, there we go.
I'll be taking that.
All right, we're in. Yeah. Heavy favorite?
No, he won't be the favorite.
Okay.
He'll
All
not be the
right.
favorite.
We appreciate it, Mike. This was an honor.
Thank you,
so
guys.
much for coming.
And
Thank you
for
so
taking
much.
care of Harrison this summer. Thanks.
Barstool Radio up next.